Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm Nicole and today we're diving into a hot topic. Should you buy now or wait? Let's explore. There are some advantages to acting fast. Interest rates are lower than they were just a few months ago, meaning that you can potentially qualify for a better mortgage and a lower monthly payment right now than if you were to have bought at the end of 2023. Also, the seller's market seems to be cooling off a bit. For a while now, sellers have had the upper hand with limited amounts of home inventory available, creating lots of competition amongst buyers. Now, as sellers have come to terms with the high interest rates that we have now, many of them are warming up to the idea of moving and in turn are also entertaining offer terms like price adjustments and paying for buyers' closing costs. As a buyer, this means that you might have more negotiating power if you decide to act sooner on your purchase rather than later. Now, of course, the downside to acting now is the thought that there's always a chance that rates could drop further. And that would be, I guess, one of the pros to waiting to buy. As a home buyer, you may gain more purchasing power later on in the year if rates continue to drop. Think more house for a lower monthly payment. Of course, that sounds great for anybody. But of course, there are trade-offs to that scenario as well. If you watched the housing market in 2020 during the pandemic, what happened? Interest rates fell and a huge pool of buyers emerged. Everyone and their mother was looking to buy a house and lock in the super low interest rates of the 2 to 3%. What does this mean for us today? That the more rates go down, the more competition is going to rise from other buyers, in turn, driving up prices. So at the top of my head, I honestly can think of dozens, if not hundreds of buyers, like just in my local market that I have personally spoken with, that have personally told me they want to wait to buy until interest rates drop. Now, I'm not saying that that's a bad idea, but you have to understand the pros and cons with that. Financial experts suggest that if you are buying your primary residence, it might be better to move sooner rather than later. Investors or those looking for a second home, maybe those who are cash heavy, might benefit from waiting to see where the market goes. Remember how everyone was so excited about potential interest rate cuts at the end of last year? This was because the Federal Reserve indicated that it could cut benchmark interest rates several times throughout 2024. While the Federal Reserve doesn't set mortgage rates, it does set the federal funds rate. That's the rate that banks follow when they lend money to one another. So while they aren't directly related, mortgage rates tend to track the changes in the Fed's interest rate movements. Well, rather than inflation continuing to fall early this year, inflation threw us a curveball and rose by 3.1% in January. This led many economists to change their outlook. So now those cuts might be on hold until later this year. Now, even without the cuts, mortgage rates have actually dipped a bit in 2024 so far, which is good news for buyers. But the housing market itself is kind of stuck in limbo right now, with inflation still lingering. Currently, the average mortgage rate on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is 7.21%, down from 7.76% in early November of 2023. So ultimately, deciding whether to buy now or wait is a personal decision. For example, just because it's the right time for me to buy a house doesn't necessarily mean it's the right time for you. What you need to understand is that there isn't a world where magically tomorrow you could wake up and purchase a home at half price with an incredibly low interest rate. In order to be a smart home buyer, you have to understand how all of these elements are related and how they affect each other. Now, no matter when you decide to buy, getting a good mortgage rate is going to be key. So whether that's something you're wanting to pursue now, something you're wanting to do down the road, here are some of my tips. The first thing is, if you can, I always talk about save, 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 increase your down payment. This dramatically lowers your risk for lenders and is going to lead to a better rate. On top of this, if you think about it, if we just pause and kind of understand how mortgages work, right? Your interest rate is only going to be affecting the amount of your purchase that you're financing. So like the larger your down payment is, one, the better, because lenders are going to see that and say they are a very secure buyer. But two, you're also financing less of your total purchase. So then you're paying less in interest overall. The second thing is boost your credit score. The higher your score, the lower your interest rate is going to be. Lenders love, love, love to reward those who look financially stable and can show on paper that they know how to manage their money. Number 3 is think about loan term. Now, a lot of people always talk about 30-year loans, which is great. Those can be an awesome option. But shorter loans, like a 15-year loan, can come with a lower rate than a longer-term loan like a 30-year. So if you can swing the slightly higher monthly payment that would be required, a 15-year loan could be a decent option to entertain. Ultimately, the decision of when to buy depends on your personal situation and goals. But remember, the most important thing is finding a house that fits your needs and budget, no matter what the market is doing. If you've come to the conclusion after watching this video that buying sooner rather than later might be the right move for you, don't forget that it is 100% my advice that working with a buyer's agent, someone to walk you through this process, especially if this is your first time, is absolutely key. And as a realtor, I will be the first to tell you that we are not all the same. Everyone's got their own little specialties. Everyone's got their own little nuances. And some people just know more and have more experience than others. So if you're wanting to get connected with a great agent, I'd be happy to help you with that process. In the description of this video, you'll find a link where if you tell me a little bit about where you're looking to buy, your timeline, ideal price point, I will help you get matched with someone who's going to be great. Thanks for watching. My name is Nicole Nark, and I will see you in the next one.